How to pick winning stocks for beginners. If only I'd known how to do this 20 years ago. Hey, I'm Luke Downey. I've been investing in stocks for about 20 years, and I've learned a few things, good things and bad things. And so each week, I'm going to be sharing some of those thoughts and those ideas to help make you a better investor. So if you like this type of content, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and get into this. How do we pick winning stocks? I mean, there's very few things that I like to talk about more than picking winning stocks. So I'm going to make this super easy. And this is going to be beginner level. You know, if you're just starting out with investing, what are the three things that you really need to be concerned with about picking the next big winner? And the first thing that I'm going to tell you is it has to do with the stock. Pick a company that actually makes money. Pick a company that actually makes great products. And a good example that we all can relate to is Apple. Apple makes iPhones, iPads, Macs, iTunes, all of this stuff. And they do it in such an elegant way. They've got these great products. And the cool thing is they weren't great just this year and last year. They were great 10 years ago and even earlier than that. Okay. So you want to be looking for companies that have a history of success. And so whenever we talk about finding the next big winning stock, it really should be a company that does something that's special and they make a lot of money. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And this is something that you can do at home, right? Whenever you're looking for a great company or the next big winning stock, is look for companies that actually make money. So I'm on Yahoo Finance here, and I'm looking at their financials. And you can see here, this is the trailing 12 months of revenues, profits, all that type of stuff. You could spend some time in there, but if you're a beginner, all you really need to do is look at the trend of the revenue and the earnings. And so for Apple in 2017, lots of revenue, lots of earnings. 18, same thing, 19 and 20. So that's what makes it a little bit easier. Whenever you're looking for a winning stock, look for a company that actually is making money, okay? And then it helps if they have great products. And we all know that Apple just dominates everything they do practically. But whenever they're actually making good money, it just makes it that much easier to make a bet on the company. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And that's the first tip of finding a winning stock is look for a company, great products, makes money, growing their revenues year after year. That is just solid advice. The second thing is look for companies that are in long-term uptrends. It's just like with anything, right? If you hear about real estate that tends to go up year after year, it tends to be stable. It tends to attract big money. People continue to buy the best real estate out there. Well, they do the same thing with stocks. So you want to be looking for a stock that is in a long-term uptrend and it just continues to make higher highs. So let me share my screen one more time. This is a 5-year chart of Apple. And what do you notice? Move this out of the way. You notice that it continually goes up over time. Now, listen, we could spread this out much longer than 5 years and you see the trend. The trend is your friend. Well, make sure that you're looking at a long-term trend, right? Because the long-term trend for a company like Apple and plenty of great companies out there is they continue to go up over time. You know, so often new investors, they start looking for stocks that are cheap and that continue to get cheap year after year. And that is a recipe of disaster. That is not how you're going to win over the long term. You have to bet on winners and the leaders lead and they continue to go up over time. And then the third tip, this is going to be a little bit harder to quantify, is if you really are trying to pick a winning stock, you actually have to hold. That means during the thick times and the thin times, you have to be an investor, right? So I'm not a big day trader. I'm not breathing in and out every single day and worrying and sweating and all that type of stuff. Because I have learned, right? I've been doing this about 20 years, that the big money happens over years and years and years. And a tiny sum can turn into big money. And so often you hear from new investors, they get spooked out, they get nervous, they get worried, they hear some headline, it derails their whole thesis of why they were investing in that winning stock. And they find out years later, man, if I had just held that stock when I bought it years ago, I'd be, sitting pretty. I'd have a lot of money. But that's the hardest part about investing. Is when you start out, you feel like it's got to be complicated, and it really doesn't have to be. And so let's go ahead and recap the 3 things that you need to find a winning stock. Okay, number 1, it needs to be a great company. Okay, it needs to have great management, it needs to have great fundamentals, great products. They make money, they're growing their sales, they're growing their earnings year after year. Then number 2 is we want to look for a long-term uptrend of a stock. Okay, don't be getting involved in long-term downtrends. Okay, that suggests there's something wrong with the company. And then the last thing is, if you're really trying to find the next big winning stock, don't sell out early, right? If it's the next Amazon, when was the best time to sell? Probably never. Okay, so that is how you pick winning stocks. So if you use this framework, it's really going to narrow down your pool of stocks that you're looking at, and it's going to get the contenders in front of you, and it's going to remove the pretenders. So hopefully this helps you in your quest of investing dominance, and send in some thoughts, some questions, some commentary, and I'll see you next week.